Hello everyone, in this video let's talk about the exif directive of Alpine.js. Exif is kind of similar to the xshow directive we have seen before. So when the value is true, this is going to be visible. When the value is false, then the element is going to be hidden. So this is the basic principle of exif and xshow, although there are some basic differences. So the application is kind of the similar. So let's create a div, and this is going to have a xdata as an Alpine component. Let's create a variable named show and give it true. Now let's say we also want a button as before, and on click we want to toggle it. So let's add that. We are going to use the @click here as a shortcut. On click we want the show to be opposite of the show. That will do the toggle thing. Now the basic difference with the exif and xshow start from here. So we cannot actually create a div and let's say we got a paragraph tag and some dummy lorem ipsum text in here. So we cannot just use a div, and we have used the xshow like that, right? But we cannot do that with xif. So in order to use the xif, we need to use the template tag. So the starting tag will be the template, and the finishing tag will also be the template with the backslash as normal HTML element. Now we need to put our xif in here, and everything else is the same as xshow. So now if it's true, this is going to be show up, and if it's false, this is going to be hidden. So if we just click the toggle, this is going to toggle. This is a basic difference with the exif. If we use the div here, this is not going to work. We need to use the template to make it work. The second difference is that by using the exif, this is going to completely remove the thing in here, but with the xshow, this has just added the display none. So let's create the same example with the xshow so we can see the difference, and we can use the div here because we are going to use the xshow. Let's just save. So the second example here is the xshow. Let's just change it. Okay, sorry, not here. I want to just add it as a text show toggle, and the first one is the xif. Let's just inspect it. So this is the second element, and we have added the xshow with the div here. So as you can see, it got, okay, I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. So it has added this style, but it is totally empty because this is now visible. But if we click the show toggle, it has added a style tag and put display none inside that. But the div element is here. We can still see the paragraph text and everything. It just display none. But now let's move on to the top one, which is the xif. So we have added the xif with the template, but there is an interesting thing in here. So in here we have added the template tag and put our text or the paragraph tag inside the template tag. It is wrapped with the template tag. But if you see here, this is thus the template tag, and the paragraph tag got in the next line. So this is the starting of the template tag, finishing of this template tag, then here is our paragraph tag. But we haven't done that here, right? So this is a little bit different, and this is our paragraph tag and this is our text. But if we click the toggle here, it is going to be totally disappear. So this is going to make it actually remove it from the DOM element. So if you are working with the xif, you need to keep that in mind. So when you should the xif and when you should use the xshow, This is actually kind of depends on you, but I think in my cases, when there are lots of things in here, like we got multiple elements, lots of elements, then we should wrap everything out with the template tag and use the exif. And if it is a small element like a small paragraph tag or anything like that, you should use the xshow. Xshow is much simpler. Okay, if you are familiar with JavaScript or maybe PHP or anything like that, you know that there is an if-else statement in JavaScript, and I think most of the programming languages had that. But in Alpine.js there is no else statement, but you can use it by using a small trick. Let's just copy this on. So the trick we have already talked about that before. It is just going to be the opposite. So let's say we want to show it if the exif is true, otherwise, or in this case else, we want to display something else. So you can just put a exclamatory sign, which is the not sign. So now if the show is true, this is going to show up this thing, and if the show is false, this is going to show up this thing. So this is kind of the if statement, and this is kind of the else statement. Let's just save. Actually it doesn't make any difference because the text is the same. I'm just going to make it smaller. Okay, so this is it, everything about the xif and xshow. Now in the next video, let's talk about the xref and refs, so both magic element and Alpine directive.